and welcome to this episode of Community Connections. I am Anna Orr, and this is airing on OROMIA11. We are talking today to Dorothy Nins. She is the Executive Director of the Minnesota Black Authors Expo. We're talking Black authors, literacy, identity, and some other hidden gems that you probably won't expect right here in the Twin Cities. This is going to be a wonderful episode you won't want to miss. So excited to have you joining me on today's episode of Community Connections. Can you introduce yourself to viewers and your organization?
Yes, my name is Dorothy Nins, and I'm the Executive Director of the Minnesota Black Authors Expo.
That's wonderful. And can you just talk to us a little bit about what the Minnesota Black Authors Expo is and does?
Yes, I am so proud. This is our 7th year of the Minnesota Black Authors Expo, and it began in 2017, and the founders are Devonna Pittman and Jasmine Buddha. And they had books on their shelves, and they really didn't know how to market them. And so they decided to create this organization, the Minnesota Black Authors Expo, to bring the people to the authors as opposed to the other way around. And so, but the organization really is for promoting and supporting literacy of people all ages, but also encouraging people to write and read, and to also help all authors, Black authors, to really realize their literary dreams and even develop their literary dreams.
Okay. Now, you shared you are Executive Director. How long have you been sitting in the seat as Executive Director?
Since 2019. Devonna Pittman, our wonderful, illustrious founder, she decided to run for office, for public office, and that required her to step away. And she gave me a wonderful award that was really hand-blown glass. You know, be careful when people give you awards because it's just more work. And so she promptly told me that evening that I was taking over Minnesota Black Authors. And so she was there with us from 17 to 19, and then I took over after that. And we went into the pandemic when I took over. So God's sense of humor is not funny. But I've been the executive director since 2020.
Okay. And you shared with us a little bit about some of the gaps that the Minnesota Black Authors Expo was trying to fill in the world of publishing and literacy. But can you talk to us about what the specific intention, just expound a little bit more about that?
Sure. I mean, there are so many Black authors. I mean, like thousands upon thousands of Black authors, and many of them just write it for the satisfaction of writing and getting whatever is inside of them, whatever their experiences are, whatever their stories are. And so, but some actually want to maximize their written work and don't know how. Most people who write books don't know anything about publishing or marketing or any of those kinds of things, putting stuff on social media and getting followers, or even going on a speaker circuit. And so those are the kind of things that we do, and also put them with local publishers.
Now, you guys are approaching, this is year 7 for the Minnesota Black Authors Expo. And you were talking about some of the gaps that you guys have been trying to address and fill. Do you feel at year 7 that you guys have accomplished that?
Well, you never accomplish everything because then you die. So we're still striving to help and reach out to so many authors. I mean, every year it really astounds me. Well, not astounds me, but makes me sad, actually, that after the expo, people are like, I wish I had known, I would have been there. You know what I'm saying? So every year, and I thank God that in these 7 years, we've really established ourselves as a premier Black Authors Expo and organization. And so people, when they mention us, you know, others say, oh yeah, talk to Dorothy Nins. And so people call me all the time, email me, write me. And so we have accomplished a little bit, but certainly we want to do more. We want to find every Black author who really needs help and support in promoting their books and their literature, and also just really promoting literacy to every human being. Yeah.
Now, what brought the Black Authors Expo to Minnesota? We were talking about there was a deficit of books being on the shelf that they wanted to move, but what had Devonna as well as you say, I think Minnesota is somewhere that this can be not only it can not only work, but it can actually grow to be 7 years old.
Well, I mean, Devana is an amazing, masterful influencer. Everywhere she goes, it thrives. I can't even explain her energy and her influence, but she's just smart, and people love her. And so wherever she goes, people just really will get on board with whatever it is that she's promoting and selling. And so I think that was the big thing, is that she knew that there were Black authors like her who really needed someone to go to bat for them and to help them to get their books off the ground or out of their houses and into the hands of other people. And so I think people trust her. She's an influencer. She has great credibility in this community. And so that's helped us to grow.
Now, I saw that there are a few people, specific authors, that are going to be participating at this event, Minkara Tazet, as well as a couple others. Can you talk about how you came to pick those specific people?
We don't even pick people. It's so interesting. It's open to anyone who is a Black author. So we have the pleasure of meeting new people every year who find out about us and find us. So we don't choose authors. And for the past 3 years, we were very limited because we were on television from 2020 to 2022. And so I did get to pick some of those people because it was urgent that we pre-record it. But we did leave space for new authors, and that's what we want to do every year, is to bring people to this space that didn't know about it and we didn't know about them. That's what makes it exciting every year, is that we get new people.
Now, you talked a little bit about having to pivot due to COVID as well as being televised. Can you talk about how you guys have journeyed from those nuances of the Expo to where you are right now, taking place at De La Salle High School on the 21st?
Well, I can tell you this. I had a little bit of experience with television and radio before then, but I had no idea that I was going to have to use it so quickly during COVID. And our authors had never been on TV, most of them. And so I had to teach them how to promote themselves, how to market themselves in a 30-second promo. Imagine trying to do that with authors who are usually verbose. So it's a challenge, but it was really wonderful. And so I was actually afraid of going back in person because the last time we were in person, Devana was in charge. And I had no desire to do this huge event. The last time we were together at De La Salle High School, which is why we chose it again, because it was familiar. So going back after 4 years, I thought it would be easy, and it has been. But so pivoting from being this director and producer in front of camera and pre-recording everything to going in person, it has been daunting, I can say that, but we have a great staff. Alyssa Miller, who is our event planner, and also Tuba Nguyen, who is our communications director. They're both published authors, and they know what authors need, and they've been a great team to work with.
I think that's wonderful. De La Salle is such also a central location for a lot of different people coming across the metro. So I think it'll have a really good turnout on the 21st. Now let's talk a little bit about what people can expect to encounter during the Expo on the 21st from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Well, it's going to be fun. That's what I can say. One of the things about doing this work in the literary space is it's sacred space. People who love books just are really cool people, and so I like the fact that when people come to Minnesota Black authors, they know that they're going to be inspired, they're going to be encouraged, they're going to have fun, and all of those things are going to have, and they're going to be engaged the entire day. And so that's what I'm excited about. So we'll have author panels, we'll have authors reading from their books. Gary Hines will be there talking about telling our stories through music. Most people don't know he's an amazing music historian and a brilliant man, so he'll be talking about that. We'll also have the new curator of the Givens collection that is at the University of Minnesota. His name is Davu Saru, and he is wonderful. I took the tour last week. Everybody needs to go, and he'll tell them why. We'll have a young author, and his name is Mahdi Abdul Razak. Okay. And his father has been with us for many years as an author. And so he is 11 years old, and we're excited because he can influence these young people who think you have to be old to write a book. And he wrote a book about being gluten-free. So he'll be talking about that.
At 11 years old.
At 11 years old. And he's so excited. His dad said every day, he said, when is it again? I'm ready. I'm ready to go talk about my book. So I'm really excited about Madi. And Madi and I share a birthday too.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we have talked a little bit about young people and their contributions to the Expo. Let's talk about how teaching about Black writers influences young people.
I think everybody needs to see themselves, whether it's on television, whether it's in books, whether it's in magazines and periodicals. Everyone wants to know that they have the ability to do all things, whatever it is. And writing and reading is no different. And so I really feel like Devonna was very intentional when she made Kids Corner a central part of what we do as well. And it is sponsored each year by the Hennepin County Libraries, who've been a great partner for us. And so we are very intentional, really reaching out to young people. Even when we were on television, they would come on and tell about their favorite books. And you're talking about hilarious. That was hilarious. One of them was talking about the book Monkeys Jumping on the Bed and Why You Shouldn't Do That. That was hilarious. So, I mean, I just believe that we need to make sure that children are reading and have the ability to write. And the best way to do that is to inspire them with other people who have written books that look like them.
I think it's so important to have this conversation or continue this conversation around Black literacy and publishers and authors, because we're at a time in society where kids aren't seeing themselves in schools or in storybooks about themselves. And so when we're pushing this, like you said, identity matters, and it's important to see representation of an 11-year-old who dared to write a book about something that I don't think a lot of adults would have expected from a child.
Yeah, gluten-free. It's serious. But, you know, the other thing that I really love is that there are so many Black children's authors here in the Twin Cities. And Nakima Levy, Pounds, I think is her full name, but she just wrote a book, you know, and so she was out reading it too and having young people read her book. And so it's just really exciting to know that there are so many children's authors that are inspiring kids to read as well.
What are some of the ways in which you've seen Black literature influence all ages?
You know, I think that seeing ourselves on television and images of Black people who are politically active, socially active, active in the education world, I think it's really encouraged people to write about it. You know, and so when we see podcasting and we see all of these social media influencers on, I think, and they need to know, you know, young people need to know, you need to know how to write.
True.
In order to be in these spaces. And so it's really important to start there, to say, you know, you just don't get on the camera and start talking. You've got to write content first. And so letting everyone know you can do this, but you do have to have some acumen in the writing space.
I think that's very important. This year's theme is Dreaming in Color, Telling Our Stories to Save Our Lives. Can you talk about where that came from?
You know, every year I have the pleasure of coming up with a theme. And I really am inspired just, I think, spiritually about a theme each year. I had no idea when I came up with this theme in January that this would be the 60th anniversary of Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech. And I did have the pleasure of going there in August to witness, you know, the March on Washington and its 60th anniversary. But when I came up with this, I was just thinking about telling stories and how would we like to tell stories. Is colorful, to have every hue represented, not just in terms of color, but in genres. You know, we have Afrofuturism, we have children's authors, we have memoirs, we have fiction writers and children's authors. And so when you talk about dreaming in color, I want people to think big, to think outside of the box. And when you talk to children, and I work with children, middle school and high schoolers, their dreams are so small. And so our goal this year is to have people dream in color and dream big. And so that's what we want to do with this expo.
What has been the journey of telling our stories and saving our lives to you personally connected to this work?
That is an interesting question. I think that my story is an interesting one, and it's certainly not been linear. And so even as I ponder what my story is and telling people, I think it's really important that we share our story, because so many people are isolated in the way that they feel about their lives, about their journeys, about their education, about shifting and pivoting, as we all have had to do in this COVID space. And so I think that as much as I can, I really do share the stories, not just of mine, but my ancestors too. I tell people about my dad all the time and the wisdom that he's passed on, so that I could pass it on to others. And so that's what I do, both writing and speaking.
Now let's talk a little bit about themes, a little bit further about themes. Have you seen themes from Black writers change? I know a lot of people have felt that our story has always been one about slavery or about the hardship that we've had here in America or getting here. But there are authors like Zora Neale Hurston and Their Eyes Are Watching God, and Maya Angelou, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. Do you believe that these themes are still relevant and that they still bear fruit now, today?
I do. And, I really took that question seriously. So I'm going to go to my notes, because I didn't want to miss anything about that question. Let me find my notes, because I happen to love both I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, and I had the pleasure of meeting the Queen Angelou. And one of the things about her in particular is that when you meet her, she has no veneer. You could tell that she was a free woman. And so I always aspire to do that, just to have she had filters, of course, but she was not hiding anything. That's what you felt like. She was giving her full self. And so in I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, when I think about the themes of that, really of becoming free, and really the things that go on in a family that are secretive, that keep people bound. But once you learn that you can tell the story, that it frees you, that theme is always going to be there. When you talk about Their Eyes Were Watching God, one of my favorite movies and one of my favorite books that I can actually read over and over again, when talking about coming to your real identity, about Black love, about really being adventurous like a child your whole life. All of those themes are still the same. But we also have these new themes, right, about identifying trauma. Now, that's been a theme all along, but we still weren't talking about it. So really identifying the origin of our trauma, I think, is new. And then Afrofuturism. Wow. Wakanda did a whole lot for us.
I was just about to say, I think so many people don't understand when you say Afrofuturism, but when you say Black Panther,
they understand. They make the connection.
And you're like, that's right. That's what it is.
Exactly.
That's what it is.
And two of our authors, both Mercedes, who writes Black to the Future comic books. We love her. That's talking so cool. About Black empowerment and futurism, and also Tierra Cisco, who is a profound and best-selling author who is Afrofuturism. So I love it.
Do you believe there is value in shifting the themes we hear often from classic Black authors to what modern-day Black authors are talking about currently?
I think so. I think Black hair is a big one, owning your hair and whatever it is. You don't have to have natural hair. I think that people are free to be who they are. If you like the creamy crack, I like it too. You know what I'm saying? But I think just having the freedom to say, I'm going to wear my hair the way that I want, how I want it, and feel empowered doing that. I think that's a major theme. Also, recovering ourselves and our identities, it's a major theme that's always been with us, but I think that we're proud to do it now, and we're not secretly doing it. And also not to be perfect. This whole perfectly imperfect is a theme that I think that people have grasped, and I love it. And so talking about, how you feel like you don't have to be perfect to be well. And so I like that.
I think there are so many, Cicely Tyson, Michelle Obama, Oprah that are writing memoirs talking about their journeys. And I think there is such a space for people to get those jewels that we traditionally in African American culture used to get from our elders, grandparents, and things like that. And we don't have a lot of those left anymore, or we find ourselves in spaces where we weren't able to talk to them and get their journeys orally, and we don't have note of it. So in reading these books now, I think it's providing direction for people as they find themselves in trying times, like you said, navigating the COVID space, watching the news every day and seeing how the government is responding to citizens or not responding to citizens.
Yeah, and one of the things that I love about this theme this year, Dreaming in Color, telling our stories to save our lives, we have a lot of stories to tell. And one of the things that I like most is that it's intergenerational. When we come together in the Expo space, we bring educators, we bring faith leaders, we bring children, we bring parents, and I like that. But most importantly, that elders get to talk to children. And the last time that we were together, the wonderful Dr. Josie Johnson was one of our authors, and I had the pleasure of really being her ambassador for that day. And we couldn't get out of the building. She was supposed to leave like at 1 o'clock. And I promise you she was there until 2, because if you know her, you know she takes time with children. And she's always concerned about leaving a legacy and also a pathway for not just children, everybody who meets her. She wants to know, what are you doing and how can I help you get there? Always. I'd never have a conversation with her without her asking, what are you doing and how can I help? And so for me, I think that the possibilities are great. And in the space that we're in, and one of the organizations that we are linking with and partnering with this year is the Black Storytellers Alliance, and we have lost some giants, of course, Mother of Love, Natando Zulu, and also Beverly Cotman. And so those are some big spaces and voids to fill, but we're hoping that people will come out and hear the storytellers that are still there, and honor both the Mother of Love and Beverly Cotman through storytelling and listening to the storytellers that are a part of BSA.
Now, we've talked about a little bit about the events that are taking place on the 21st. There'll be a kids' corner. There's going to be the Storytellers Alliance will be present, as well as a few other things. Can you talk to me about what your favorite activity of the day is that you love at the Expo?
I think authors reading from their books, but it makes me upset because I want to write. I want to buy them all. Once they have really read from their books, I'm just inspired and I'm so encouraged by their stories. And so that's my favorite part, is the panel discussions talking about their journeys in writing and what are their processes in writing. There's no two writers that have the same process. So hearing them talk about how they got from one space to the end of their book, one idea to the end of their book, and some took 10 years, some took 3 years, some took 3 months, just sat and banged it out, you know. So knowing that no matter what your story is and how long it takes, it's worth writing. I think I like those things.
I think that's beautiful. On the 21st at De La Salle from 10 to 5 p.m., the Minnesota Black Authors Expo will be taking place. Can you talk to us about fees associated, parking information, all that good stuff for people that are interested in attending? How would they connect to get all that information?
First of all, everybody come. You don't have to be Black to attend the Expo. Everyone should appreciate Black literature. And so we make that space available and welcoming to every person. No matter how old you are, how young you are, we want you to enjoy that space. And De La Salle has open parking. That's one of the reasons that we chose there, is that the parking is good there. We will have food trucks, so you don't have to go anywhere, go out and eat and come back into the space. And so that is, what was the other question?
Can you provide any contact information, social media handles for anybody that wants to register and or find out more information about the Expo?
Wait. First of all, I don't know nothing about no social media handles, but I think Minnesota Black Authors Expo, if you go there, hashtag Minnesota Black Authors Expo, go on our website. That's what you need to do, is go on the website, which is www.mnblackauthors.expo.com. You'll find everything that I don't know and can't tell you, but I do know this, that you can register still as an author and table there. And one of the wonderful things about registering as an author is that you become a member of the Minnesota Black Authors Expo, and we call ourselves MBAY, which we're the sweethearts of the literary community. Okay. And so, but when you register, you get to table there. Your book is on our website for a year. You get to table at all of our events for free. You get to go to the Writers Boot Camp for free if you register as an author. But the Writers Boot Camp, for anyone who is an emerging author, you're in the middle of your book or you finished your book, you can come and learn everything from publishers and seasoned authors, and that's going to be from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock at De La Salle High School during the Expo. So please go on because there's limited space both as authors and as emerging authors for the Writers Boot Camp, and that's $30. And let me see what else is going on. I think, and if you're a vendor, if you want to sell anything but books, because you got to buy your books from our authors. But other than that, if you have something to sell and you think that it would be appropriate for the space, please come out. And the Kids Corner is always wonderful.
Thank you. Now, my last question, if we are unable to attend on Saturday, I will cry,
first of all. Everybody ought to come. But but
for those of us that are not able to make it, but have found this initiative to be amazing and want to support, how do we do that?
First of all, go to the donate button on our website, Minnesota Black Authors with an S, expo.com. There's a donate button if you really want to support the work that we do. You also can go to our website, buy books. There is a featured author tab, and you can buy the books directly from the authors on our website. We would love for you to do that. You can contact us. We have an email address on the website. If you have ideas, if there are things that you'd like us to do in the community with the literary Black literature or Black authors, we would love to do that. We are in relationship with many literary and publishing companies. And I do want to, before I get out of here, talk about our wonderful sponsors. I mean, I can't get out of here without talking about them. Many of them have been with us from the beginning, and we are very appreciative. So True Stone Financial, North Suburban Center for the Arts, Aya Media and Publishing, Strive Publishing, The Loft, St. Paul Public Library, Hennepin County Library, In Black Ink, and of course the Given Foundation for African American Literature. So
community partners are important.
Yes, it is.
And keep a lot of our organizations running and keep us connected to networks that we are not always privy to.
Absolutely. So I'm really thankful to be here and to promote this amazing venture of Minnesota Black Authors Expo. So thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Now, before you go, I want you to look in that camera there and talk directly to the people that are on the fence about attending.
Oh, nobody is on the fence, I'm sure. So let me just say, you will have the time of your life when you step into the Minnesota Black Authors Expo space. First of all, it's sacred space, it's fun space, it's exciting, it is inspiring, and it's for all ages. You really want to come and have a good time. It's going to be spoken word artists, it's going to be panel discussions, there's going to be food trucks, there's going to be the Kids Corner. Whatever you like to do in the literary space, it's going to be there. We're going to have dancing and singing and all of those kinds of things. We're also going to teach you how to write. There's going to be the Writers Boot Camp there. So you want to come out and bring all of your family and all of your friends. And I guarantee you that you will have a good time. And if you don't, I'll give you your money back. But it's free, so I ain't giving you nothing.
Thank you so much for joining me today, Dorothy. I wish you all the best at the Minnesota Black Authors Expo. And thank you for your commitment to not only promoting Black art and supporting Black literature, but also giving our kids more identity and a platform to see themselves reflected.
Thank you. And thank you, Miss Anna Orr, for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Unfortunately, that is all the time that we have for today's episode of Community Connections. As always, I am your host, Anna Orr, and I look forward to connecting again with you soon. A very special thank you to today's guest, Dorothy Nins, and the amazing team at the Minnesota Black Authors Expo. The event will be taking place on the 21st of October from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. at De La Salle High School. So if you or a future author or current writer or publisher in your area is interested in attending, be sure to go to the website, which we'll provide in the link below, so that you can join as well as support all of the Black authors that are listed on their website. I look forward to connecting again with you soon.